I wasn't planning on making this video or any video until my 2 months, but here we go. What's up guys, my name is Jensen. Today is September 16th. I am a little bit over 6 weeks post-top surgery, which is fantastic, except for a few little tiny things that I thought I would share with you. So I had my 6-week post-op appointment, and prior to that, there had been some things that were going on with my chest, and just some little things that I was noticing that I was keeping an eye on that I didn't really mention to my doctor because I thought it was in my head. I was wrong. So there was 3 things prior to this appointment that I had been noticing on my chest that were kind of strange. And I don't want to say they were bad, they were just things that happened. So I'm going to tell you about those 3 things right now. Number 1, when I was putting tape and gauze over my nipples to cover them, I was using polysporin. I would put it on the gauze and I would use paper tape to attach them. The thing is that the paper tape was leaving the glue, the adhesive on my skin, and it was really hard for me to wash it off for some reason. So that irritated me. So I switched to Band-Aids. That was my mistake. The Band-Aid adhesive you can't really see it anymore, but the Band-Aid adhesive irritated my skin, almost like when I would wear KT tape and I would leave it on for too long. But I only left these Band-Aids on for 2 days tops, and probably less than that. And it irritated my skin, so I took them off and I didn't wear them anymore. I know it was my fault to wear the Band-Aids in the first place because they intentionally told me paper tape because it is much more gentle on your skin, but whatever, it is what it is. Alright, so now I'm stuck with these 2 little things on the side, and I'm putting Neosporin on it, thinking that's going to help, right? And I mean, it's not going to hurt it. Leading on to number 2. While I was putting polysporin on my nipples, they told me that I should just do it for a few more days. I don't really know how long that meant. There was still a little bit of scabbing, so I put light polysporin over my nipples, and it seemed to be doing just fine. The scabs came off and everything, and I kept putting it on until I was planning to go to my 6-week appointment. The last time I put polysporin on was the morning of my 6-week appointment. Okay, so number 2 is about my nips. So since I was putting polysporin, I was putting light polysporin towards the end, and I told myself I was going to stop once my doctor told me that I didn't have to put on anything anymore at my 6-week appointment. A few days before, I noticed comparing, I know this is bad, I know you shouldn't compare, but I did, and it's normal and it is what it is. I started comparing other photos of other people who had gotten top surgery and were about the similar length amount of time as me. And I noticed that my nipples didn't have a clear edge. Like maybe they were in circle and that's fine, but they didn't have a defining edge. Mine were like, it was a little bit red around the edges, and I didn't know what that was. I didn't know if that was normal. I was kind of expecting that to go away. But I didn't see that on anybody else's photos. So that concerned me. It was just something that I was keeping in my head to bring up to my doctor. The third thing is my actual incisions on my chest. So I'm going to show you guys in a second, but I wasn't using anything on them for a long time, okay? Maybe till like a week and a half ago. I started putting silicone tape over them, and it seemed fine. I would wash them, I would leave them on for days at a time, but I would wash them because I would shower so often. I would wash them with mild soap and water, and then let them dry, and then put them on, and then wash them, same thing, and it was a repetitive process. And they seemed to be doing just fine when I would pull them off. They didn't hurt necessarily. It was maybe like 1 out of 10 it hurt, but it didn't hurt to the point where I thought I would need to stop using them. So with those things in mind, this is what I went into my doctor's appointment with. And as soon as he saw my chest, the first thing that he said was, "Your nipples look a little irritated." Which just tells me that I was right, that my nipples looked a little off, a little bit different than anybody else's. And so pretty much this whole thing is because I had a skin irritation to the polysporin. Now, the issue there, and what surprises me, is that I never have had any issues with any skin irritations. My skin has never been sensitive, but on my chest, because the nerves aren't connected yet and things are still kind of healing, I think it takes longer for my chest to heal, and so my skin is just naturally more sensitive to things and to adhesives and stuff. He did say that the adhesive from the Band-Aid was also irritating me, but what didn't help is that I was putting Neosporin on it. I thought that was going to help, because that's what I would normally do, but it didn't help at all. I think it was making it worse. I have a photo, I will show it here. This is the photo of when I first took off the Band-Aid, and I noticed that it was a little bit irritated on this side and another one on this side. So you can see it's a little bit red, it's not too bad. And then this is the day before I went to my 6-week doctor's appointment. So these were probably about a week apart. I'm gonna say at least a week apart. And you can see that it's way more red here, and it's way more like rectangular, like solid rectangle filled in. So that was that issue, okay? As far as my nipples, I don't think I have any clear photos of what they're supposed to look like and what mine look like, but I will have a photo of what mine look like kind of around the edges compared to maybe a week ago, how they look like around the edges. You can tell that the redness has kind of gotten a little bit bigger. Not worse, just bigger. It's kind of spread over a larger area, I guess. And my incisions, so I'm gonna show you guys my incisions right now. So this is my chest right now. This is it at 6 weeks. It looks great, except for how thick you can tell that these are. And it's not the scarring. The scar has not stretched. It's just irritated around it, like maybe ½ an inch around each side of the incision. You can tell that it's only about here in these little first few inches of my scar that it's irritated, and then the rest is kind of fine and whatever. But it is similar to the irritation that I had here, which you can tell it's way better. It's flat. It's kind of just going away now. Same with this side, it's going away now. But I've been putting 1% hydrocortisone along the Band-Aid adhesive irritation, as well as, you know, in this little section. So with that being said, as far as scar care, I'm not doing anything right now, but we'll get into that in a moment. I don't know if you can tell that there's a little red area. You remember in one of the videos when I said there's a little red area that's like bothering me, and I don't know how much it's gonna bother me and if it's gonna go away or not? This is that area. Right here was where it irritated me, and that one's the bigger area, as you can tell. I think because that's what I noticed at first, and it's the one that came first, but it was irritation pretty much. But I have that all along the outside of both of my nipples. It's not that big all around. It's very minimal, but I can tell. And if you look closely, at least compared to another trans person's or somebody who's gotten nipple grafts, they have a seamless edge, which looks fantastic. But yeah, mine aren't really like that. So that's what I'm doing right now. As far as scar care on my incisions, I'm actually not doing anything for scarring because I'm trying to get rid of the irritation first. I have really high hopes that it's going to go away probably within the next week. But I'm not sure what I'm going to do after that because the doctor said that the irritation came from the silicone tape that I was using. I did buy another brand of silicone tape just in case. But right now I'm just trying to get it healed up and ready to go. I'm not a doctor, but I feel like I'm aware of my body. I don't think that it was from the tape itself as much as I think that the polysporin on my nipples was kind of going down into those areas, which is why it's only in the first few inches because it was going straight down it. I don't know if that makes sense. And it was getting into the tape sometimes. So when I would take off the tape, it would be like yellow and crusty from dry polysporin, which happened around my nipples, which is why I know that the polysporin probably got in it. And I think that just irritated my skin there, I guess. But I'm not a doctor, like I said. So we're gonna figure it out as it comes. Right now, I'm still in the very beginning of this journey and we will figure it out. It is kind of frustrating to see the progress that I've come, but to constantly have these tiny little issues. If it's not one thing, it's the other. It is what it is. I'm being patient. Overall, I do love how my chest is coming out. I think it's super cool. The only thing that I have a concern, maybe, do you want to call it a concern? A thing with, a weird thing, is the coloration of my nipples. You can tell here, this one is way darker than this one, which it always was, and that's fine. But this one hasn't really continued to get more color in. This one's slowly still getting bits of color here and there, but my left side hasn't. I know that'll take time, but it looks kind of weird. I don't know. I'm just curious when that'll go away. I obviously don't care. I'm glad that I have nipples. I'm glad that they're alive. I'm glad that they did not die. I'm grateful that I have a flat chest now. But now I'm becoming nitpicky about how things look, I guess, which is, I don't know, something I'm dealing with. Everything else, honestly, all those 3 things that I mentioned, they're gonna go away. I have faith that they're going to go away and it's not going to be a big deal, but it is something worth mentioning at 6 weeks because I haven't seen anybody have skin irritations from these things. I just thought I would give you guys an update, and hopefully somebody who watches this video, maybe who has skin irritations also, knows that it's going to be fine and it's not a big deal, and yeah, it is what it is. Anyways, guys, I am going to update you guys again in 2 more weeks. That'll be my 2-month post-op mark, which is super excited. I know every week is kind of a slow, gradual change, but there are constantly new things that happen, like these. So if you guys want to keep more up to date with my progress and how my progress is going, I do post way more things on my Instagram page. It's Jensen Crab. That's my name for all the social media platforms. So follow me on there, shoot me a message if you have something nice to say. Otherwise, maybe don't. Make it a good day today, guys, and I will see you soon.